Home buyers, this is the California Association of Realtors Buyer Representation Agreement. Your agents, your realtors are being trained to tell you that you have to sign this agreement before they show you a property. That's not true. It's a trade association rule. It's what the California Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors are forcing upon their member agents by virtue of the fact that they're members of the association. It's not the law in California. So let's just get that straight. The other thing is, just as a lawyer and a broker, let me just say this agreement, it's complicated. I don't even really want to understand it. I read this a few weeks ago. I don't even remember the interplay between non-exclusive and exclusive and the timing. And like I remember thinking, oh, I'd have to put in other terms and cancellations. Like a non-exclusive cancellation, it's upon receipt or 30 days after. Exclusive, effective 30 days or not to exceed 30 days. I mean, like, what does that mean? And up here where it says that, and it's initialed and checked, only checked for exclusive in part of 15, like, it's not really that easy to read. This is obviously built to keep commissions high, in my opinion, and to have you agree to commissions ahead of time, even though it's not the law. They're forcing this upon their agent members. Now, what options do you have? Well, you go to my website, homebuyers.winnerscheck.com, and download my agreement, where I echo the California law in it, and I don't have a spot where you have to agree to pay them, so it complies with the law. It's a written agreement, but you don't have to agree to the amount until it's practicable, until you've ascertained it, until you've seen the property, you've determined like you want to make an offer, you find out from the listing agent how much they're willing to offer, and then with proper safeguards, you could agree to fill out a buyer compensation agreement. Now, I still wouldn't use theirs. I'd use mine. I'll make a second one where we do have a number to put in there. In fact, I have. But I'll make it available at winnerscheck.com in the same course upon request. But now you've got a real way to buy properties. Like, what if your dream house isn't offering buyer agent compensation? Let's say your dream house will just make it $2 million. But they're not offering any buyer agent compensation. Are you going to come to the table with $60,000 out of your pocket after you're already having to put $200,000 down for a down payment for a typical loan? Are you going to just pay them out of your pocket? If you're fine with that, I suppose that'd be a reason you'd want to sign this. But if you want to remain flexible, to be able to buy your dream homes, even if they're not agreeing to pay your buyer agent, you know there's other ways to do this. You could work with a non-car member agent who doesn't have to make you sign this form. You could buy directly from the listing agent and protect yourself. Maybe put a lawyer. I'm an attorney. I'm a lawyer. You put a lawyer on your team to review the file with you while you're working directly with the buyer's agent, with the listing agent. And you don't have to sign this form. You don't have to agree to pay buyer agent commissions. So, if you don't mind doing it, fine. But otherwise, I'd consider, if you want to work with a realtor, use an agreement like this, where you're not agreeing to pay them ahead of time, but you're still complying with California law. Now, I've done a lot of videos today, so my voice is going, but now I'm going to show you what the Department of Real Estate says about the law. Okay? Now, let me move it over here. And this is where they're talking about the settlement terms. This is where they're saying there's a requirement that, you agree to assign. Really, it's that the buyer's agent has to have you sign a signed representation agreement. And then they got California law to say so. So California law changed in January 2025. And so in addition to the nationwide settlement, the California legislature, I'll just put my cursor over it, recently passed Assembly Bill 2992, which is signed by the governor in September, and it was effective January 1st. All buyer's agents in California will be required to sign a buyer broker representation agreement with their buyer clients as soon as practicable. See that word, as soon as practicable, but no later, and here's the guidance, no later than the execution of the buyer's offer to purchase the property. So in other words, you go see the property, you find out what the seller is offering in terms of buyer agent compensation, you decide you want to make an offer on the property, and you tell the agent, hey, you draft up that offer. Now that we know that they're willing to pay 2.5 and they put it in writing or in an email, then I'll also, now we can amend our buyer agent agreement and I'll write in the amount that I'm going to pay you. So now it was done at a practicable time. You've complied with California law and you're buying homes. Now, just in case people want to argue with me any more on this, let's go to the next line. Note that the timing in this legal requirement is different from the trade association practice. That's NAR. That's the National Association of Realtors and the California Association of Realtors, which requires a buyer broker representation agreement before an agent tours a home with a buyer. So they're saying the law, the timing of the written buyer agent agreement is significantly different than the timing of the trade association practice. AB 292 also will require that you may include buyer agent compensation, the services to be rendered, when the compensation is due, and the date when the agreement shall expire, provided the expiration date shall not exceed 3 months from the date it was executed. Now, therefore, I would recommend that you work with buyer's agents that are not following the trade association practice, but they're following the California law. So, for more information, to download the form, to get our training, or to get referrals to buyer's agents or the listing agent directly and be protected, all that will be in our training, and it'll be free. And I haven't even made the part about working with me and how you'd work with me. I am putting all these videos together for straight up good knowledge and good training, and then I'll give people the option of working with me. I haven't even made those videos yet. They just said. So buyers.winterscheck.com for the form and the videos. You've probably seen them, when to work with a buyer agent, when to work with a listing agent, and the questions you might want to ask the listing agent. All that's in there. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye. My name is John McConnin. I'm a broker and attorney in California. Thanks. Bye.